Alright everyone, we're going to get this video out there real quick. I wanted to make this number 217 voting video in the incredible Mandela Effect voting video series. Yesterday I was watching Scared Performance video on who's changing 9/11 events, and he mentioned the book that Bush was reading in the classroom to the students in Florida when 9/11 occurred. And I know this really well. There's a huge Mandela Effect for me because I used to show this to people at Safeway all the time. I used to bring this up about the words that the kids were reciting. It just always blew my mind. So I'm going to show you right here what the name of the book is. This is what it's always been.
Into the World Trade Center. For now, the event at the school continued.
And we were following our normal pattern of reading, and the pet goat just happened to be the next story.
The pet goat.
The pet goat.
The pet goat. That was the name of the story. Well, that's not the name of the story that I remember. That's from a different history. Because the history, well, that's from the history we're in, or I don't know, whatever you want to say. But I remember a history where it was President Bush read the story, My Pet Goat, not The Pet Goat. So here we have another the. My last video was on the word the popping up in front of dark side of the moon, the dark side of the moon. Well, that just sounds ridiculous. But that's what it's always been. Well, now we have the pet goat. He was reading My Pet Goat. So I have some reality residue to show you here. I don't know how many times I've seen the clip of him in the room. This little clip they're showing right here in the corner. So listen to this here.
The fast way without making a mistake. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready.
Kick.
Yes, kick. Get ready.
Steal.
Yes, steal. Get ready.
Plane.
Yes, plane. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must.
Now, I showed you this because this is what I used to show people all the time at Safeway. Of all the lists of words that these kids could have had on the morning Bush is sitting there when planes were hitting the Twin Towers, they're reading, their word list is kite, steal, plane, must, hit. Really? I mean, Jesus, what? How could this even be possible? That's always been so mind-blowing to me. How could that be the list of words? I just don't. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. We'll just stick to the My Pet Goat, okay? My Pet Goat. President George W. Bush, My Pet Goat. My Pet Goat. My Pet Goat. That was the name of the book that he was reading. It was called My Pet Goat. That was the name. Here we go with this. It's all My Pet Goat, all over the place. Oh, they're just getting it all wrong, a lot of people would want you to believe. It was always The Pet Goat. Well, yeah, you're right. Currently, it was always The Pet Goat. But you know what? I remember My Pet Goat.
Mr. Bush just sat there and continued to read My Pet Goat with the children. Nearly 7 minutes passed.
Not in this reality. In this reality, he sat there and continued to read The Pet Goat. But I clearly, distinctly remember it as being My Pet Goat. So if you do too, please sum this up. Now, this is not going to affect everyone. A lot of people are going to be blown away by this, by the name change of the book. Others are going to not even really ever know what it was, so it won't affect them. But for those of you who knew the name of the book, who have seen this clip 50 times or 100 times or whatever. I mean, I researched 9/11 hundreds of hours, and I've seen this clip so many times of him in the classroom. I always knew the book as My Pet Goat. I've never heard it as anything else because that's what it was.
Guys want to read a story here, huh? Huh? It's going to be fun. This one's called My Pet Goat. Here we go. A girl had a pet goat. It's a pretty good start, huh? The girl liked to play with the goat. But the goat was bad. He ate too many things. He ate caps, and he even ate capes. And then one day, a robber came.
The second attack, I guess, is the one that's captured on news film, because he's in the middle of a photo opportunity reading to these, or listening to these children read My Pet Goat in the elementary school class in Sarasota, Florida. My personal analysis of this is that he is frozen in fear, terror, and panic.
So, of course, if you go to newspapers.com, tons and tons of newspapers, listening to children reading from My Pet Goat, 2004. Let's see, 2005, My Pet Goat, Condoleezza, all referring to the morning sitting there in the classroom. My Pet Goat, all over the place. That's what it was. But you'll also find The Pet Goat all over the place now as well, because that's where we find ourselves. So that's it, everyone. Wanted to throw this out there real quick. I'll put a link down below to Scarab's video if you want to check that out. I'll talk to everyone soon. Go create the reality that you want.